Hello students. Today we will discuss for the composition of the blood. As you know that we are having the circulatory system, and we are having the circulatory system because actually the essential substances, they are needed to be circulated from one part to another in the living system in the body. To carry out the essential substances, we are provided with the medium that is called as blood. So, for the functioning of the blood, we have to know for the composition of the blood, and this session it is all about that only. Here it is what? It is a fluid connective tissue where the matrix it is plasma, and the two main components of the blood, they are plasma and the formed elements. Plasma it is the fluid, clear extracellular fluid it is, and the formed elements, they are made up of the cells and platelets. And you can see here in the diagram the plasma along with the cells which are suspended in the plasma. Now come to the detail here. The formed elements, other than plasma, we have discussed for the formed elements, and they are so named because they are enclosed in a plasma membrane and have a definite structure and shape. All the formed elements are cells except for the platelets, which are tiny fragments of bone marrow cells. Formed elements, which we have talked about, they are of three types here: erythrocytes, leukocytes, platelets. Erythrocytes, they are also known as RBCs. Leukocytes, they are also known as WBCs. And same diagram we are having here. You can see here the different types of WBCs like neutrophil, eosinophil, basophil, for which we will talk in detail. Now, you know, the plasma, it is what? It is a mixture of proteins, enzymes, nutrients, wastes, hormones, and gases. The composition and function of its components, that is, let's talk about the proteins here. They are present in abundance. These are the most abundant substance in plasma by weight and play a part in a variety of roles, including clotting, defense, and transport. So proteins, they are having these many functions: clotting, defense, and transport. One of the protein, they are albumins. Right now we are talking about the types of proteins which are present in the plasma. Plasma is what? It is a fluid matrix present in the connective tissue, because we know that blood it is a connective tissue. So albumins, which are the smallest and most abundant plasma proteins, they play an important role in plasma transport of substances such as drugs, hormones, and fatty acids. Right? Now come to the globulins here. Globulins, they can be divided into three classes, from smallest to largest in molecular weight, and they are being classified into alpha, beta, and gamma globulins. The globulins include high density lipoproteins, which are called as HDL, and alpha 1 globulin, and low density lipoproteins, which are called as LDL, and beta 1 globulin. HDL and LDL therefore play important parts in the regulation of cholesterol and hence have a large impact on cardiovascular diseases. This is the third type of protein which we can see here, fibrinogen, and it is a soluble precursor of the protein fibrin. This is the precursor of fibrin, and it forms the framework of the blood clot. So here the fibrinogen, which is a soluble precursor of a sticky protein called fibrin, which forms the framework of blood clot. Fibrin plays a key role in the coagulation of the blood. So here we have seen the three types of proteins. Which three types of proteins? Albumins, globulins, and fibrinogen. Now, other inclusions are amino acids, nitrogenous wastes, nutrients, gases, and electrolytes. These are also present in the plasma. Let's talk about the cells in detail because we know that the fluid matrix, it is plasma. For that we have discussed in detail. In plasma the proteins are present along with the inclusions are present. Now we will talk about the cells which are suspended in the plasma. Here the red blood cells, which are called as RBCs, and they are also called as erythrocytes. They are having two main functions. One is the oxygen carrying, to pick up oxygen from the lungs and deliver it to tissues. Second function is to pick up carbon dioxide from other tissues and unload it in the lungs. So this is what the function of RBCs, and one is the oxygen carrying and second to pick up the carbon dioxide from other tissues and unload it in the lungs. The range of RBC in male, they are 4.3 to 5.9 million per cubic millimeter, and in female the range is 3.5 to 5.5 million per cubic millimeter. Now let us continue our discussion here, and the erythrocytes, for which we have seen the range, for which we have seen the function, they are what? They are the disc shaped structures, right? And this is what an adaptation they are having for the enhancement of their function. An erythrocyte is a disc shaped cell with a thick rim and a thin sunken center. You can see here in the diagrams the sunken center. The plasma membrane of a mature RBC has glycoproteins and glycolipids which determine a person's blood type. They are there for the determination of the blood groups. On its inner surface, two proteins they are present. One is spectrin and the other one is actin, and they give durability to the RBCs. RBCs, they lose all the inner cellular components during maturation. Again, this is an adaptation for the enhancement of their function, for the efficiency enhancement here. And you can see here the structure, like here the in the middle the sunken center you can see. Now the biconcave shape is that the cell has a greater ratio of surface area to volume, enabling O2 and CO2 to diffuse quickly to and from HB. So the biconcave structure, it is the another point of adaptation, right? And we have seen here in the point that the resulting biconcave shape is that the cell has a greater ratio of surface area to volume, enabling oxygen and CO2 to diffuse quickly to and from the hemoglobin, which is the pigment present in the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin, it is a pigment present in the RBCs. The cytoplasm of a RBC consists mainly of 33 solution of hemoglobin. 33% it is, which gives RBCs their red color. Hemoglobin carries most of the oxygen and some of the carbon dioxide transported by the blood. Circulating erythrocytes live for about 120 days. As they are not having the nucleus, they are not able to repair themselves, and that is why they are having the average lifespan of 120 days. You can see here again the structure of the RBCs and biconcave shape it is easily seen here. Now come to the WBCs, white blood cells. They are the another type of cells present in the plasma, suspended in the plasma, and they are also known as leukocytes. Range is 4,300 cells to 10,800 cells per cubic millimeter of blood. They can be divided into granulocytes and agranulocytes. And you can see here the diagram, right? Here the granulocytes you can easily see in terms of basophil, eosinophil, and neutrophil, and the agranulocytes, which are of two types, lymphocytes and monocytes. Again, in this diagram, the erythrocytes are also shown, which are formed from the polychromatic erythroblasts, right? And here the thrombocytes, platelets, they are also shown, which are formed from the megakaryocytes. So right now we are concerned for the WBCs, and we will discuss in detail for the platelets that are also called as thrombocytes in the upcoming slide of ours. So here, the types of WBCs, granulocytes and agranulocytes, and collectively they are called as leukocytes. Let's talk about the granulocytes here. One of the granulocyte, it is neutrophil, and these contain very fine cytoplasmic granules that can be seen under a light microscope. Neutrophils, they are also called as polymorphonuclear, and it is because they have a variety of nuclear shapes. So they are also called as polymorphonuclear cells because they are having the variety of nuclear shapes. They play roles in the destruction of bacteria and the release of chemicals that kill or inhibit the growth of bacteria. Again, neutrophils, they are the type of granulocytes because here the granules, they are present in the cytoplasm. And you can see the structure of neutrophil here, right? Now come to the another slide. The second type, eosinophil. This is the second type of granulocyte. These have large granules and a prominent nucleus that is divided into two lobes. They function in the destruction of allergens and inflammatory chemicals and release enzymes that disable parasite. So you can see here the eosinophil structure, and these have large granules with the prominent nucleus. And nucleus, it is divided into two lobes. You can easily see here. They function for the destruction of allergens, and they are also having the inflammatory responses. They are responsible for the inflammatory responses. Now come to the basophils. Basophils, they are the another type of granulocytes. They have a pale nucleus that is hidden by the granules. They secrete histamine, which increases tissue blood flow via dilating the blood vessels, and also secrete heparin. Heparin is what? It is an anticoagulant that promotes mobility of other WBCs by preventing clotting. And you can easily see here the diagram of the basophil, right? So these are the three types of granulocytes. First, neutrophil we have seen in the previous slide, and the eosinophils and basophils, for them we have seen the description here. Next is agranulocytes. Because WBCs, they are broadly categorized into granulocytes and agranulocytes. In the granulocytes, the basophils, eosinophils, and neutrophils we have seen. Let's come to the agranulocytes here. Agranulocytes, first type is lymphocytes. These are usually classified as small, medium, or large. Medium and large lymphocytes are generally seen mainly in fibrous connective tissue and only occasionally in the circulation of bloodstream. Lymphocytes' function is destroying the cancer cells, cells infected by virus, and foreign invading cells. In addition, they present antigens to activate other cells of the immune system. They also coordinate the actions of other immune cells and they secrete antibodies and serve in the immune memory. So, these are the type of agranulocytes, right? Lymphocytes and very important type of WBCs they are. The functions we have seen. They are there for the destroying of the cancer cells. The cells they are there for the destroying of the cells which are infected by the viruses and other functions they are having. And you can see here the diagram of the lymphocytes. Now come to the monocytes. Monocytes, they are the another type of the agranulocytes. They are the largest of the formed elements. Their cytoplasm tend to be abundant and relatively clear. They function in differentiating into macrophages, which are large phagocytic cells, and digest pathogens, dead neutrophils, and the debris of dead cells. Like lymphocytes, they also present antigens to activate other immune cells. Monocytes, they are differentiated into macrophages. You know, their cytoplasm tend to be abundant and relatively clear. They function in differentiating into macrophages. And macrophages, they are having the function for the engulfment of the bacteria, right? So these are the type of agranulocytes. Till now we have seen how WBCs are there for the resistance. They are the cells of the immune system and they are there for the fighting against the infections, fighting against the pathogens. Now come to the platelets, right? Platelets, they are the fragments which are suspended in the plasma. Here, this is what the range of the platelets per cubic millimeter. They are also called as thrombocytes and they are formed from the megakaryocytes in the bone marrow. Platelets are small fragments of bone marrow cells and therefore they are not classified as cells. And they are having the functions like they secrete vasoconstrictors. What the function of vasoconstrictors? Vasoconstrictors, they constrict blood vessels and thereby causing vascular spasms in broken blood cell. Platelet form temporarily platelet plugs to stop bleeding. They secrete procoagulants to promote blood clotting, dissolve blood clots when they are no longer needed, digest and destroy bacteria, secrete chemicals that attract neutrophils and monocytes to sites of inflammation, secrete growth factors to maintain the linings of the blood vessels. So these many functions they are there for the platelets. And here you can see the structure of the platelets. And this is the last slide. Thank you for watching the video and your queries. They are always welcome. Keep watching the videos. You can have the interactive live sessions with me in the form of online coaching And bye for now. Have a very great day.